Have you ever thought that war is not always fought with swords and guns? Some wars are fought inside the mind, in relationships, in careers, and most of all, with oneself. Every day you are in some battle, sometimes with circumstances, sometimes with other people, and many times with your own fear. But the question is, do you fight to win, or do you keep fighting until you lose? 500 years ago, a Chinese warrior and philosopher wrote a book. He said, "The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting, meaning the greatest victory is one where you never had to fight at all." That person's name was Sun Tzu, and the book, The Art of War. Today, we will understand this book not just as war strategy, but as the secret science of life, psychology, and success. Long ago, there was a king. His kingdom was vast. He had thousands of soldiers, better weapons, horses, bows, swords, everything. Yet in every war, he lost. People whispered, "With such a large army, why does this king keep losing?" The king asked himself this same question every night in his palace. Where is the lack? Are the soldiers weak? No, they were powerful. Are the weapons old? No, they were the finest. Then why the defeat? The truth was the king was strong on the outside, but unbalanced within. The king would get angry quickly. The moment the enemy made any move, he would give orders without thinking, attack. He thought showing strength would create fear. But in reality, his army was not filled with fear, it was filled with confusion. Soldiers didn't know. Why are we fighting? When do we stop? When do we retreat? The king underestimated his enemies. He thought, they are smaller than us. Weaker, we will crush them. But every time the enemy used this very arrogance against him, the king never spoke to his soldiers. He never saw their exhaustion, their fear, their morale. He only looked at numbers. But wars are not won with numbers. Wars are won with the mind. Slowly, the army's trust began to break. Soldiers would give up even before the battle. They fought but were hollow within. One day news arrived, the enemy was advancing toward the border with massive preparation. This battle was decisive. If they lost, the kingdom was finished. The king couldn't sleep all night. For the first time, there was fear within him. He felt, I have done everything, yet I am losing. That very night, a minister spoke a name, Sun Tzu, a person who won wars not with a sword but with intellect. The king immediately sent for him. Sun Tzu arrived at the palace. No heavy armor, no weapons, simple clothes, calm eyes, and a strange confidence. The king asked, "Can you make my army win?" Sun Tzu said, "Yes." The king said, "But we have little time." Sun Tzu smiled. "The one who hurries is the first to die." The king was slightly annoyed. Sun Tzu said, "I can make your army win without a single battle." The king laughed. "What a joke! How is war won without fighting?" Sun Tzu spoke calmly, "Because you don't even understand the meaning of war." The king went silent. For the first time, someone had spoken to him like this. Sun Tzu said, "King wars are not fought on the battlefield. Wars are fought in thinking. The one who loses in thinking first, what will they win on the field?" He continued, "The one who does not know themselves can never defeat the enemy. The one who does not understand circumstances is the first to die. And the one who makes decisions from anger writes their own defeat with their own hands." The king kept listening. Every word sank deeper within him. Sun Tzu said, "We will not fight." The king panicked. "Then do we run?" Sun Tzu said, "No, we will attack the enemy's thinking." Created an environment where the enemy felt the king possessed some secret power. He changed the dates of battle, confused the routes, and trapped the enemy's army in their own fear. The enemy's army grew exhausted before even fighting. They couldn't understand where to attack, when to attack. Their generals started quarreling among themselves. Suspicion grew, trust broke. Sun Tzu told the king, "Do you see? We did not pick up a single sword, but the enemy is breaking from within." Within days, the enemy sent a message, "We want a settlement." The king was stunned. No battle had taken place, no blood was shed, and victory was achieved. For the first time, the king understood, the cause of my defeat was not my army, it was my thinking. From that day, he changed. He began thinking before speaking, making decisions not from anger but from understanding. Sun Tzu said as he departed, "The one who conquers themselves, no one can defeat them." The Art of War is not a book of swords. It is a book about conquering your own anger, understanding your own ego, and bending circumstances with intellect. Wars are not fought outside, they are fought within. We will now discuss this book across 13 chapters. Let us begin. Chapter 1. Laying Plans. Sun Tzu says, "Every battle is won before it is fought." The entire secret of war is hidden in this one line. War is won not with a sword but with thinking. The day two armies face each other, that is not when the decision is made about who will win. The decision was made long before. In those choices, those preparations, those thoughts that were made before the battle began. If victory is not certain before the war begins, stepping onto the field becomes merely a formality. And in life, the very same thing happens. We often think that victory or defeat is determined by our final step, whereas the truth is the outcome is already born from our very first thought. Most people in life take steps without thinking. They suddenly change careers, start businesses without preparation, make decisions in anger within relationships, say words in arguments whose impact lasts for years. When the result comes, we say, "This was my fate." But Sun Tzu says, "The excuse of fate is often the way to hide a lack of planning." The human mind is a strange battlefield. When we take action without thinking, we are actually surrendering to the fear, greed, or pressure within us. We are not seeing the circumstances, we are reacting from our emotions. And reaction never guarantees victory. For Sun Tzu, planning did not just mean drawing maps. Planning meant knowing yourself, understanding the circumstances, recognizing the strength and weakness of the opponent, and most importantly, controlling the state of your own mind. The person who understands their own haste, anger, and confusion, that is who becomes a true strategist. When you think, analyze, and then take a step, you are trusting not fate but intellect. You don't chase after circumstances, you shape them. Sun Tzu teaches exactly this. Victory is not a sudden event. Victory is a process that quietly completes itself from within. The person who lives without planning becomes a slave to circumstances, but the one who thinks first becomes the creator of their own future. Sun Tzu says, "There is no instance of a country having benefited from prolonged warfare. The longer a war drags on, the deeper the destruction becomes. Even if victory comes at the end, the price of that victory is so heavy that the win begins to feel like a defeat." Sun Tzu clearly states that long battles are never in anyone's interest, because with time, strength doesn't increase, only exhaustion increases. In life, the same is true. When a relationship remains in conflict for a long time, when arguments never end, when every conversation becomes a war, then neither side is trying to win, they are just losing energy. Slowly respect disappears, trust weakens, and the relationship that was once a support becomes a burden. In careers too, people make this same mistake. They stay stuck for years in a job, an environment, or a struggle that is hollowing them out from within. The same battle every day, the same pressure, the same frustration. From the outside, it looks like they are standing firm, but within their confidence and enthusiasm is slowly dying. Sun Tzu explains the person who fights over everything is not a warrior. They are only a slave to their ego and anger. They think every conflict must be won, but they cannot see that their greatest defeat is the continuous destruction of their own energy. Such battles don't move you forward, they stop you right where you are. Wisdom lies not in how many battles you fight, but in which battles you choose. Not every war is necessary for your life. Some wars only waste time. Some steal your peace, and some slowly extinguish the fire within you. Sun Tzu's message is clear. Retreating at the right time is not weakness. Letting go of a battle that is breaking you from within is actually saving yourself. When you let go of unnecessary wars only, then do you have strength left for the battles that truly matter. Chapter 3. Attack by Stratagem. If any chapter in Sun Tzu's entire book changes thinking most deeply, it is this one. Here Sun Tzu says directly, "The greatest victory is that which requires no battle. The most magnificent win is one where you never had to fight at all. This may sound strange at first, because since childhood, we have been taught that victory comes from struggle, but Sun Tzu is talking about a level of struggle where the enemy has already lost before a weapon is even raised. The real war does not happen on the field. The real war runs in the mind. Manipulation, ego, and anger, these three are weapons with which a person is defeated without a single blow being struck. When someone provokes you, angers you, insults you, and you immediately react in that moment, you have handed your power to them. Because now your decisions are not being made by your intellect, they are being made by your emotions. Sun Tzu says, "The one who can provoke you can control you, and the one who controls you victory before them is only a matter of time." This is why the clever enemy does not first seize your sword, they seize your patience. They confuse your thinking. They poke your ego so that you yourself ruin your own position. In life, this applies everywhere. In relationships, when someone deliberately strikes your weakness and you react, they haven't won the argument. They have made you lose your balance. At the workplace, when someone humiliates you and you take a wrong step in anger, the real damage is to your career, not to theirs. Sun Tzu's strategy is direct. Stay calm. Calm does not mean being cowardly. Calm means having complete control over your mind. A person who is calm can see circumstances clearly. They can understand where to speak, where to stay silent, and where retreating is itself the real victory. Chapter 4. Tactical Dispositions. Sun Tzu says that the real warrior does not attack first. They first secure themselves. Defense first, then attack. This doesn't mean they are afraid. It means they are not foolish. The person who attacks without preparation exposes their weakness to the world. Most people make this mistake in life. They spend their energy trying to change others. They want people to be different, circumstances to change, the world to run according to them. But in Sun Tzu's view, this is the greatest strategic mistake. Because until you yourself are strong, every victory you win will be temporary. Tactical disposition means strengthening your own position so thoroughly that the opponent cannot harm you even if they want to. This strength does not come from outside. It is built within. It is hidden in your skills, your mindset, and your control over your emotions. When your skills are weak, you panic quickly. When your mindset wavers, even a small failure breaks you. And when your emotions are not in your control, anyone can provoke you into making the wrong decisions. Sun Tzu knew the person who cannot manage their mind cannot remain safe in any circumstance. Becoming strong means constantly learning, improving yourself, and honestly facing your fears. It means quietly preparing, raising your level without making noise. Such a person has already won half the battle before it even begins. Chapter 5. Energy. According to Sun Tzu, strength is not built from force or numbers alone. Strength is born from the right timing. This is why he says, timing is everything. A small step, if taken at the right time, can produce great results. And that same step, if taken at the wrong time, all the effort becomes wasted. Many people in life are hardworking and wise, yet they still lose. Not because their path was wrong, but because they did not choose the path at the right time. Chapter 6. Weak points and strong. Sun Tzu's principle here is very clear. War is won not with strength but with understanding. He says banging your head against the enemy's strongest wall is foolishness. The wise warrior strikes where the wall is thin, where the defense is weak, where the opponent is unsuspecting. In life, we often do the opposite. We get impressed by people's strengths, we fear them or try to directly challenge them. But Sun Tzu teaches real strategy is not challenging strength. It is understanding weakness. Every person, no matter how powerful they appear, is insecure somewhere within. The most dangerous kind of weakness is emotional. Some have a hunger for approval. Some carry a deep fear of failure, loneliness, or defeat. Some are driven by greed, the desire for more, and some by ego, the need to prove themselves above all. These are the cracks from which a person begins to break. The one who understands these weaknesses is never easily trapped because the opponent turns your emotional weakness into a weapon. Sun Tzu therefore says, the first responsibility is to recognize your own weakness. When you know what makes you angry, what you fear, or what wakes your ego, no one can easily use those against you. Chapter 7. Maneuvering. Sun Tzu knew that the hardest part of war is not fighting the enemy, it is leading your own people in the right direction. Leadership limited only to giving orders becomes ineffective. People can move from fear but not from the heart. Maneuvering means not the game of controlling others, but the art of inspiring them to walk alongside you. Empathy means understanding the situation of the other person, recognizing their fears and hopes, and then making decisions. When people feel seen and heard, they consider themselves not followers but partners. Chapter 8. Variation in tactics. The most dangerous situation arises when a person becomes a prisoner of their own strategy. Life constantly changes. Circumstances change. The same strategy does not work in every situation. Rigidity slowly makes a person weak. What does not bend breaks. Strategy's strength lies in its flexibility, its ability to change its form according to circumstances. Those who remain flexible learn quickly from failure. Chapter 6. Weak points and strong. Sun Tzu's principle here is very clear. War is won not with strength but with understanding. He says banging your head against the enemy's strongest wall is foolishness. The wise warrior strikes where the wall is thin, where the defense is weak, where the opponent is unsuspecting. In life, we often do the opposite. We get impressed by people's strengths, we fear them or try to directly challenge them. But Sun Tzu teaches real strategy is not challenging strength, it is understanding weakness. Every person, no matter how powerful they appear, is insecure somewhere within. The most dangerous kind of weakness is emotional. Some have a hunger for approval. Some carry a deep fear of failure, loneliness, or defeat. Some are driven by greed, the desire for more, and some by ego, the need to prove themselves above all. These are the cracks from which a person begins to break. The one who understands these weaknesses is never easily trapped, because the opponent turns your emotional weakness into a weapon. Sun Tzu therefore says, the first responsibility is to recognize your own weakness. When you know what makes you angry, what you fear, or what wakes your ego, no one can easily use those against you. Chapter 7. Maneuvering. Sun Tzu knew that the hardest part of war is not fighting the enemy, it is leading your own people in the right direction. Leadership limited only to giving orders becomes ineffective. People can move from fear, but not from the heart. Maneuvering means not the game of controlling others, but the art of inspiring them to walk alongside you. Empathy means understanding the situation of the other person, recognizing their fears and hopes, and then making decisions. When people feel seen and heard, they consider themselves not followers, but partners. Chapter 8. Variation in tactics. The most dangerous situation arises when a person becomes a prisoner of their own strategy. Life constantly changes. Circumstances change. The same strategy does not work in every situation. Rigidity slowly makes a person weak. What does not bend breaks. Strategy's strength lies in its flexibility, its ability to change its form according to circumstances. Those who remain flexible learn quickly from failure. Chapter 9. The Army on the March. Sun Tzu believed that before a war even begins, circumstances start speaking. Routes, weather, people's behavior, and the environment, all of it signals what is about to happen. But the problem is, most people don't know how to see. They only know how to rush. In life too, circumstances keep sending signals. A relationship suddenly goes quiet, the atmosphere at work begins to change, or an unease keeps building within. These are not trivial things. These are signs understood in time that can prevent major conflict from ever arising. Sun Tzu teaches the person who learns to observe wins half the battle without fighting. Seeing means not just looking with eyes but feeling, understanding people's behavior more than their words, reading their silence more than their speaking. Silence is itself a language. When someone suddenly becomes quiet, when answers start being avoided, when energy is no longer what it was, something is changing there. The person who recognizes these changes can alter their course in time. Chapter 10. Terrain. For Sun Tzu, war was not just a game of warriors' capabilities, it was also about the land they stood on. The same army, the same courage, the same strategy can produce completely different results on different terrain. In life, environment plays the same role that land plays in war. Many people consider themselves weak when the real problem is not their capability but their environment. Wrong environment slowly weaken anyone's confidence no matter how talented they are. Sun Tzu does not say run from every situation. He says understand the situation and wisely choose your position. Chapter 11. The 9 Situations. A person's true nature emerges not when things are easy, but when they are under pressure. Pressure works in 2 ways. For some, it becomes fire that sharpens their ability. For others, that same pressure becomes a wall they crash into and break. Crisis becomes a teacher when you ask, what is this situation teaching me? Where do I need to become stronger? The person who chooses to learn in difficult circumstances comes out as their own strongest version. Chapter 12. The Attack by Fire. For Sun Tzu, attack by fire was not just a military technique, it was a deep metaphor for emotions. Fire is fast, it spreads, and if not controlled, it burns itself before it burns the enemy. Anger gives the illusion of strength. In that moment, a person feels they are right, strong, and decisive. But the truth is, a decision made in anger is almost always empty of foresight. It causes damage, breaks relationships, and produces results that cannot be repaired later. Sun Tzu knew before defeating the enemy, it is necessary to defeat your own anger. Patience, by contrast, is like water. Water makes no noise, but it is what extinguishes fire. Patience gives time to think, to understand, and to choose the right direction. In life, most wars are fought at the emotional level. Someone insults you, provokes you, creates fear, and if you react immediately, you've given the opponent the chance to win. Because now your move is being made by your emotions, not your intellect. The one who cannot control their emotions loses before the war even begins. Real strength lies not in a quick reaction but in a calm response. When you make patience your weapon, no fire can burn you. Chapter 13. The Use of Spies. According to Sun Tzu, the most valuable thing in war is not weapons, not even the army. The most valuable thing is information. The person who knows in advance what is about to happen has already won half the battle without fighting. In today's world, swords have been replaced by information. Knowledge is power. The one who knows where the market is headed, what people are thinking, what the opponent is planning, they move ahead. In life, spies are observations, feedback, data, and those signals that ordinary people ignore. Sun Tzu never said how to defeat others. He taught how to conquer yourself. Today, if you pay attention, your biggest battle is not with anyone else. It is with fear, laziness, ego, and self-doubt. The art of war is not a book of war. It is the scripture of self-discipline. If you understand yourself, the world becomes easy on its own. And remember, victorious warriors win first and then go to war. First win within yourself. Then the world will bow on its own. Subscribe to One Book.